Hey guys there, and welcome. It's Reggie. I'm here for another Advanced Warfare video. Today is hopefully one that I find that a lot of people will find quite useful. How to become a Call of Duty pro. So this is going to be like a mini-series. Hopefully it goes quite well. Hope you guys find it useful and enjoy it. If you do, then a like would be super awesome, just to let me continue. You know, 10 to 15 likes would be absolutely awesome. If we get that, that'd be super cool. Sorry. Yeah, so we're going to be starting with this. Obviously, I really do apologise. The recent uploading has been quite awful because I've been revising and stuff, and I will be doing so for probably the next 2 weeks. So, like, during the 2 weeks, I'm probably going to do a video every other day or other 2 days. So, you know, there'll probably be 1 to 3 days in between each video. So I apologise about that, but hopefully afterwards we can shortly get back to our normal routine, and I hope these videos are helping you guys. So this is like I said, a new mini-series, and I'm just introducing it now. I hope you guys find it useful. This basically came off a comment a while ago. I can't remember who said it, but someone said something about, you know, getting better streaks and that kind of thing. And well, several people said it, but yeah. So I'm going to be doing a mini-series, I thought, to kind of just, this is getting, you know, better, earning more streaks, and this will help you to earn more streaks and basically be better in games at Call of Duty, perform better in multiplayer. So this should be quite useful and helpful to you guys. So this is episode 1. Yeah, I'm going to be doing it as several parts, because I thought instead of doing it as one video that some people might miss, I'll do it as like several parts, so you got lots of different aspects to focus on. And today we're going to be focusing on the weapons and the class and that kind of thing. So I mean, really, I know Advanced Warfare, there's so much to focus on. It's really difficult to take it all in. You know, you've got your exo movement all the time, you've got so many different variants and everything. It's just so difficult, because in the past you'd just go into a match, you'd select which weapon you want, and you just play with it. If you didn't like it, you'd adjust it slightly with a few attachments and, you know, maybe some perks. Boom, you're done. In Advanced Warfare, it's not like that at all. The maps are catered very well to the exo movements and stuff, so, you know, all the boost jumping and all that. And that's really where things take a different turn, because from the boost jumping and all that, it means that weapons work differently. They don't work as well when you're in the air. You know, sometimes they do, depending on the weapon, but yeah, it's quite difficult to gauge, and then there's so many different factors in Advanced Warfare, it's really quite complicated to look at everything. That's why I'm breaking it all down into different parts, this mini-series. And if you want to go and check out the playlists of several different things, then they'll be in the description. Now, so the weapons, I would definitely say what you want to do is, like, choose a weapon, look at the stats really quickly, maybe go into the, I can't remember what we call it, the target range, the shooting range thing. When you go into when you go into your loadout, and then you hover over the loadout and press start, it will go load up the range. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, you guys know what I mean. So I would say maybe look at the stats of several different weapons, and then go into the range with them, test them, and whichever one is your favourite, you know, kind of obviously you're going to go with that one. Now, this guide is aimed at kind of performing better in games, getting better streaks. So this isn't about like getting camos or something where you change your setup each week. This is kind of for your weapons and stuff. At least you're doing the same thing each time. So choose a weapon that you will like not get bored of, that you love, that performs well. And if it doesn't perform well, why doesn't it perform well? You know, you need to think to yourself, okay, it's a good weapon because of this. However, there is a downside of this. But if I can just overcome that little issue, then things should be fine. And then just obviously to overcome the issue, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So really, you just want to look at your weapon just on its own, have the plain weapon, just nothing else in the class, just the weapon. Go into like the combat training or private match or like the shooting range, like I said, just test out the weapon and its stats, shooting against either targets or, you know, just, you know, AI players and that kind of thing. And then maybe just start on a lower difficulty. Whatever you do with the difficulty, just keep it the same. But I would say maybe start with a lower difficulty, maybe then work up. And then once you've actually just got your weapon which you like, whichever one is your favourite, then you're obviously going to want to go for the attachments and choose the ones that will help you. Now, you need to kind of think to yourself, what kind of player am I going to be? Am I going to be like an aggressive rushing player, and, you know, like, am I going to be stealthy? Am I going to be rushing straight into the middle of the map to get the, you know, to complete the objective? Am I going to be going around the map, getting a bit more tactical? So, you know, the main things are like rushing and aggressive, or tactical, or like stealthy, and that kind of thing. So you need to consider which one you're going to be, and this is really going to help you later on, because I'll be doing multiple videos, obviously, as I said, for the different aspects. So this is really your starting point. This is one of the most important points. So choose which you want to be, and therefore cater your weapon to that, and then obviously cater for your weapon in that sense. So for me, like, I don't know, I kind of like being tactical but also a bit aggressive as well. So between the two, I don't like being stealthy too much, and I don't camp, but I don't like rushing straight into the middle of the map. So I would go for something like, I like going for some of the SMGs. So things like the KF5 I quite like, or assault rifles, like the HBR. Oh, sorry, for SMGs, I also love the what's it called, the ASM1. I love that as well. Or if you want to kind of have a slightly longer range but not as good at short range, things like the BAL 27, the HBR3, those kind of things are really, really good as well. And I even branch out to some heavy weapons depending on what the situation is in the map and stuff, but we'll talk about the map later on. We won't talk about that now. So choose the weapon you like and kind of can see liking for like quite a long time in the future, and then kind of learn the stats of the weapon, and then learn how it feels and when, like, how it performs in situations. So in this situation, i.e. go around this corner or this point or at this distance or at this range, it performs like this and that. And I know it seems quite complicated, but if you just keep playing with the... I'm not saying just plonk yourself down for hours on end, just play. I'm saying like a bit at a time, whenever you're playing and on, choose your weapon, go into a private match or something and just keep playing with bots and stuff, and just keep playing, just keep learning the feel of the weapon, and slowly you will get the hang of it. You will definitely get the hang of it, and it should be slowly come easy to you. I know it did towards the end of Ghost. I knew really well pretty much what every weapon did, how it handled, and I could kind of picture in my mind certain situations. If I did this, then the weapon would perform like this, even without even playing. And there's also actually been studies that say different, people are doing kind of physical things. For instance, sports, if they actually like picture it, they actually are better at doing it. So if you can kind of picture the weapon doing a certain thing, you'd be better at doing it when you actually come to playing. So just learn the stats and feel the weapon. I know it sounds like a really long process. It's not as such, but if you just put some time into it, that should help you out. And this is obviously going to be really rewarding in the end. And then obviously once you've got the basic feels and stats, that kind of thing, you're then going to want to choose your attachments, which you will be able to if you learn the feel and the stats. Now obviously I can't say every single possibility and outcome, because there's so many weapons, there's so many variants, but just if you want to go and check out some of my best class setups, then I'll be doing that. I'll also very soon be doing certain like best variants for each weapon in each class, so hopefully that should be helpful as well. But if you want to go and check out the best class setup players, it'll be in the description to help you guys out. So just go through private match and combat training, that kind of thing, and try and look through the best variants. I know there's so many variants, and I know it's quite difficult to get variants, but just that kind of thing. Variants hopefully you'll find the one that's right for you. But I generally stick with the standard weapon, and then later on might choose a variant weapon depending on if it's really good. But just look at the stats of the variant, and then obviously after that you can cater with perks and things. I generally like to go for things like oh god, what is it, like gung ho and lightweight and that kind of thing. I'll also go for things like blast suppressor and toughness, but it really depends on what your style of play is, which I was talking about earlier. You need to decide that before you go into this class. And then obviously you can use your X abilities and launchers and score streaks. Score streaks don't worry about too much now, because the whole focus is about being better at Call of Duty and actually being able to get good score streaks. So don't worry about too much about that now. But if you want to choose score streaks, I would definitely say UAV and kind of like maybe, I don't know, a care package or like the system hack's quite good. And then I like choosing the chopper. What is it called? The chopper as like one of the highest streak in my situation. X ability and launchers, I generally don't like either of them. The launchers really are so underpowered compared to the campaign. It's untrue. I just feel like that they're not really useful. And obviously the fact it's a launcher, you don't shoot it as far as if you had thrown it like you did in previous Call of Duties. And then obviously X abilities, they're not very good. They last a very short amount of time. And the other thing which is really annoying is that you have to actually press quite a few buttons on like your wrist to activate the extra ability, and because of that means you're not actually holding a weapon, you're doing something else, and so you're not focused, and so if someone comes around the corner, they're going to kill you easy. So really I feel it's more of a hindrance than actually a help. But hopefully this part 1 has helped you guys out for choosing the best weapon and the strategy and that kind of thing. This is definitely going to get you on your way to becoming a really good pro at Call of Duty, and it should definitely help you out. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you do and have found it useful, then a like would be super awesome. But that's been all from me. I'm Reg Gamer. Hopefully you enjoyed the gameplay. It was a nice bit of gameplay with the KF5, and I think I went 30 to 13 or something, so over 2 KD, but that was quite a while ago, and this was before I started thinking about how to improve. So anyway, thanks guys so much for watching. If you want to go and check out part 2 when it's out, then that'd be absolutely awesome. Hopefully it should be out next week. But literally that's all from me. I'll see you guys next time.